News 13 is your local election headquarters, and I'm joined today by South Carolina's Attorney General Alan Wilson, who recently announced that he's running for governor. And Alan, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Trish, for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. We love talking to you candidates as you get ready for this. And, you know, you've had the state's top prosecutor job since 2010. So tell us a little bit about what was your decision behind running for governor right now?
Well, first off, Trish, being Attorney General has been the great honor of a lifetime. It's a job that you can do forever. I have so enjoyed it. It's given me so many opportunities to tackle so many issues that are important to South Carolinians. However, as our current governor is not able to run again due to obviously our laws, I'm looking at what I've been able to do as Attorney General in this role, and then what could I do in the role of governor? And as Attorney General, I have the opportunity as the chief prosecutor to see all kinds of things happening in government that I'm able to remedy. But there are things that you see from this perch that as the Attorney General, you don't have any authority to deal with, like fraud, waste, and abuse, like just bad, incompetent government. You see government processes playing out, and you're not able to do anything because you're not prosecuting that. That is a policy issue. And so I have seen opportunities for our state to go to newer heights, to the next level. And I believe that I have the leadership capability to be able to get us there.
Definitely. And, you know, you backed President Trump's reelection bid last year ahead of the 2024 Republican, presidential primary in the state. So when we talk about the president and Trump's support, how important is that endorsement for you? Is it make or break for your campaign?
Look, whether you love President Trump or you hate President Trump, he is a once-in-a-lifetime. He is a generational president. He is a transformational figure in American history, and his endorsement and support would be invaluable to anybody running for any office anywhere in the country, especially in the Republican primary. And again, I would certainly love his support, but I have worked very closely with the Trump administration, whether it's combating illegal immigration, fighting against overreach by federal government agencies, working with the president to basically promote his America First agenda. And that's the type of agenda that I want to promote here in South Carolina. My priorities as governor would be centered around a number of things. First off, I want to completely look at and reform our education system. I want to institute policies that will protect families and promote economic growth in our state. I want to get rid of the income tax. There are 3 states in the Southeast that have already done it. Half a dozen are already moving there, and we're going to fall behind. These are just some of the things that I want to do as governor of South Carolina, and I think we can make South Carolina the beast of the Southeast when it comes to economic development.
Those would be huge, definitely. And when it comes to that governor's race, you've been the, I guess you would say, repeated target of another politician who's considering the run for governor. That's U.S. Representative Nancy Mace. And she talked about whether or not you've been effective when it comes to protecting, women and defending women and children, and your stances on fighting illegal immigration. What do you have to say to all of that, and what do you have to say in defense of your work on that, basically?
Well, first off, my record speaks for itself. I mean, since I've been Attorney General, we've instituted the State Human Trafficking Task Force. I've quadrupled the size of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which has resulted in thousands of prosecutions of predators online who are exploiting children. I mean, I have personally been in the courtroom myself as a child sex crimes prosecutor. I have helped reform the domestic violence laws, but I've also reformed how we implement victim services. We created the Crime Victim Services Division in the office, which revolutionized and consolidated victim services in state government. The people out there that are criticizing me are the people who are sitting in the bleachers. They're not out on the field of war, fighting for these issues. That's where I've been these last 14 years.
And you do have a record that stands for itself in many of those issues. And let's talk now about another issue that is a big topic of discussion nationwide, even tariffs, and the decision, that the Trump administration has made regarding those. What do you have to say about kind of the trickle-down effect that it has on local business owners who are just trying to make it every day?
Look, to guess what the president is going to do, I try never to second guess him. I know that oftentimes when he says something, it's not the ends, it's the means to the ends. But when I do talk to associations and business groups all over the state on tariffs, they introduce a level of like a lack of predictability in the market. Tariffs create a ripple effect, as you say. What I'm telling people is this: I can't control what's happening at the national level. What I'm trying to do is create a government in South Carolina that has predictability, accountability, and fairness baked into it. That the government that we have is responsible, It creates predictability and accountability, and it promotes prosperity, profitability, and stability for the people of this state. So if you're a family that's struggling to make ends meet, we have a plan for you to get your kids to the workforce faster, to make education more affordable, to lower your taxes to zero so that you can put more of that money back into your family or into your business. And of course, you know, we want to have smart growth. I mean, you're here in Myrtle Beach, a lot of growth, but it has to be smart. We want to invite people to the state, but we don't want, you know, infrastructure policies that have people sitting in traffic for 4 hours a day.
Right. And, you know, you talked about bringing people to the state and growing the economy. This is an area that has a lot of kind of visa workers, people from overseas. Immigration's been the other big topic. What is your stance on everything, and how do we fill, if we deport people, how do we then fill those roles that we need for those jobs here in South Carolina?
Well, first off, I am pro-legal immigration. I think every rational person is pro-legal immigration, but you can't have a country where you have tens of millions of people coming across the border and then coming into our respective states. And while there are a lot of harmless people who are seeking a better way of life for themselves and their families, embedded in that migratory wave are terrorists. There are terrorist proxy organizations. There's Tren de Aragua, MS-13. There's Mexican drug cartels. I'm telling you right now, I'm battling fentanyl, trafficking, cocaine, heroin, meth, illicit narcotics. It's pouring in. I was just at a press conference a few weeks ago in Charleston with the sheriff down there and the governor, where they were busting up a nightclub where there was a bunch of cartel people. There was a person there with an Interpol murder warrant out for their arrest. And these people came in that migratory wave. So my number one focus is public safety, protecting people and making sure that whoever is here has a lawful right to be here. The workforce thing will take care of itself because we have lots of able-bodied South Carolinians and aliens who are here legally, who want to be here the lawful way, who can fill those jobs.
All right, and finally, Alan, you know, we've talked about some of your stances on issues. When it comes to you as the potential governor, what makes you stand out from the crowd? Why should you get that top spot for the state?
Well, first off, as governor, you want a person who is not afraid to take on challenges and to reform. I'm a 29-year veteran of the military. I've served in combat, made life and death decisions. I have been in the Republican Attorney General's Association as an attorney general now for 14 years. I'm the only person in the history of RAGA, that's the association name, to have been elected 3 times as its leader. That is rare to happen. I have demonstrated an ability to lead at high levels. As a colonel in the National Guard, I continue to serve my country. So I've demonstrated the ability to lead calmly and basically to execute my policies efficiently, but also to create a sense of calm. You want people to feel stable, you want them to feel calm, but at the same time, you got to bring change without injecting chaos into the system, and I think I can do that.
All right, Alan, thank you so much for being with us today. We sure appreciate it and telling us more about your run for governor of South Carolina.
Thank you.
So who else is running for governor so far? The only candidates to officially throw their name into the race are Alan Wilson, who you just heard from, and State Senator Josh Kimbrell. 2 other notable South Carolina leaders considering a run for governor include Charleston's U.S. Representative Nancy Mace and current Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Neither Republican has officially launched a campaign quite yet, but both have hinted publicly that they plan to do so. As for a Democratic candidate, no one has officially announced a run for governor, but Richland County Representative Jermaine Johnson did say earlier this month that he's thinking hard about running a campaign of his very own.